It starts innocently. You walk past a bakery and smell the sweetness of freshly baked croissants. You're not hungry, you just had lunch, but your brain whispers, maybe just one bite. Minutes later, you're sitting with a pastry in hand, wondering how it happened. This isn't just weak willpower. This is something deeper. In the modern food environment, hunger has been redefined. Today, we're not only eating to live, we're living in a state of constant craving. The term food noise has emerged to describe the background hum of persistent food thoughts, cravings, and impulses that seem to hijack our minds. This isn't traditional hunger. It's mental hunger, a neurochemical phenomenon rooted in dopamine dysregulation and the omnipresence of ultra-processed food. According to a 2023 study published in The Lancet Psychiatry, food-related thoughts now account for nearly 60% of spontaneous mental activity in individuals who consume a diet rich in processed foods. This isn't surprising. The global rise in obesity, type 2 diabetes, binge eating, and even low-grade depression can no longer be separated from what's happening in our kitchens and in our brains. Today, we unpack how ultra-processed foods manipulate your brain, how food noise forms, why mental hunger overrides physical hunger, and, most importantly, how to reclaim silence in your mind and balance in your body. Part 1. What is food noise? Food noise isn't hunger, it's a persistent mental loop that nudges you toward eating, regardless of your body's actual needs. It's the subconscious hum that says, "Should I get a snack?" while you're working, even if you're full. It's the urge to open the fridge at 9 p.m., not because you're hungry, but because your brain has learned that food equals pleasure. Food noise is the result of modern food environments and digital triggers. Think about how often food appears in your day, not just on your plate, but on your screen. Every scroll on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube exposes you to curated images of pizzas, donuts, burgers, smoothie bowls, and cakes. These are not just visual treats, they activate the brain's reward pathways. Over time, these cues become habitual. The more exposure, the stronger the craving. Dr. Ashley Gearhart, professor of psychology at the University of Michigan and co-creator of the Yale Food Addiction Scale, has shown that the brain responds to highly palatable foods in the same way. It responds to addictive substances like cocaine and alcohol. In a 2024 study, her team found that participants exposed to food cues while fasting reported not only increased cravings, but also higher levels of stress, irritability, and emotional volatility, classic signs of dopamine imbalance. The average person, according to research from King's College London, thinks about food over 150 times a day. This might seem exaggerated until you count how many times you consider coffee, snacks, lunch, what to eat next, what others are eating, or what you'll cook later. In cultures that rely heavily on ultra-processed diets, such as the US, UK, Brazil, and parts of Southeast Asia, food noise becomes a constant background soundtrack, one that overrides satiety, increases impulsive behavior, and primes the body for metabolic chaos. PA2, the dopamine hijack. Why junk food feels so good. To understand why you crave food when you're not hungry, we need to talk about dopamine, the brain's chemical of desire. Dopamine drives motivation and pleasure. It's what fuels your urge to check your phone, chase rewards, or click play next episode. But food, especially ultra-processed food, is one of the strongest activators of dopamine in the modern world. When you eat a highly palatable food, say, a bag of salty chips or a glazed donut, your brain releases a rapid burst of dopamine in areas like the nucleus accumbens, the same region involved in drug addiction. The more frequently you stimulate this pathway, the more your brain adapts by down-regulating dopamine receptors. That means next time you'll need more chips, more sugar, more flavor stimulation to get the same satisfaction. This is the biochemical basis of tolerance. In 2022, Neuroscientists at Stanford published a study in Nature Neuroscience showing that people who regularly consume ultra-processed foods, UPFS, exhibit desensitized dopamine receptors compared to those who eat whole foods. This desensitization leads to two things. 1. Compulsive food seeking despite lack of hunger. And 2. Reduced pleasure from healthy, natural food. A carrot doesn't stand a chance against a Dorito not because of taste, but because your brain has been rewired to expect intensity. This hijack doesn't only affect your waistline, it impacts your mental health. Chronic dopamine dysregulation is associated with depression, anxiety, low motivation, and brain fog. A 2023 meta-analysis from the University of Sydney found that adults who consumed the most UPFS were 42% more likely to experience major depressive episodes than those who ate whole, minimally processed diets. Why? Because the same foods that trigger dopamine also disrupt the balance of neurotransmitters, hormones, and gut microbiota that support mental clarity. Food noise, therefore, is not a moral weakness, it's neurochemical conditioning. And the longer you stay trapped in the loop, the harder it becomes to break free. But recovery is possible. And it starts with awareness. Part 3. Ultra-processed foods. What they are and why they dominate. Ultra-processed foods aren't just junk food. They are industrial products formulated with refined ingredients, artificial additives, flavor enhancers, and emulsifiers designed to maximize shelf life, palatability, and profit, not nutrition. According to the NOVA classification developed by Brazilian public health researchers, UPFS include things like breakfast cereals with added sugars, packaged cookies, chips, and crackers, soda, energy drinks, and flavored waters, instant noodles and processed meats, protein bars, and ready-to-eat frozen meals. UPFS now make up over 60% of the average American and British diet. In some urban Asian populations, the number is rapidly rising. The problem? These foods are engineered to be hyper-palatable, perfectly salty, sweet, fatty, and crispy. They bypass the body's satiety signals, causing you to eat more without realizing it. A famous 2019 NIH study led by Dr. Kevin Hall found that when participants were given unlimited access to UPFS versus whole foods, they consumed an average of 508 extra calories per day on the processed diet and gained weight in just 2 weeks. But the real issue isn't just weight gain. It's metabolic chaos. UPFS are linked to systemic inflammation, insulin resistance, impaired mitochondrial function, and a disrupted gut microbiome. And they're designed to be addictive. Just like tobacco companies once manipulated nicotine levels in cigarettes, modern food corporations use focus groups, taste testing, and algorithmic modeling to create products that keep you coming back for more. You're not weak. You're being engineered to overconsume. Food noise is the symptom. UPFR is the fuel. Part 4. Physical versus mental hunger. How to tell the difference. One of the most important skills you can build in a world of food noise is the ability to distinguish between true physical hunger and mental, emotional hunger. Physical hunger is your body's biological signal that it needs fuel. It comes on gradually, is felt in the stomach, and is satisfied by almost any nourishing food. You could eat a bowl of lentils, some chicken and rice, or a boiled egg and feel content. Mental hunger or head hunger is entirely different. It often appears suddenly, even after you've just eaten. It's highly specific. You want pizza, or chocolate, or fries. It's not located in your stomach, it's in your mind. And it usually comes with an emotional backdrop: boredom, stress, anxiety, loneliness. You're not feeding your body, you're feeding your feelings. A 2021 study from the University of Salzburg used fMRI, brain imaging, to show that individuals experiencing emotional eating showed greater activation in the amygdala, the brain's emotion center, and less activity in the Hypothalamus, the hunger regulation center. In other words, their hunger wasn't real. It was neurologically driven by emotion, not biology. To rebuild true hunger awareness, researchers recommend the following techniques. Pause and scan. When you feel hungry, ask yourself, would I eat a boiled egg or a bowl of steamed vegetables right now? If the answer is no, it's likely mental hunger. Check the clock. Physical hunger tends to follow a pattern every 3 to 5 hours. If it's been 30 minutes since lunch and you're craving cookies, it's likely not biological. Notice the body. Physical hunger starts in the stomach. Mental hunger is felt in the mouth, head, or emotions. Learning to hear your body's real signals is like tuning a radio. At first, the signal is fuzzy, but with practice and reduced noise, clarity returns. And in that clarity, your relationship with food can finally change. In part 2 of this video series, we'll dive even deeper into the science of hormone disruption, the role of gut microbiome, and practical strategies to silence the noise for good.